Dear colleagues, dear conference participants, I'm very glad to invite you to our workshop, Trustworthy Artificial Intelligence in Medicine and Healthcare. First of all, I would like to thank you organizers to this amazing opportunity to hold our workshop in framework of international conference Informatics and Data-Driven Medicine. It's a very nice opportunity to communicate with experts in AI and share our experience. Actually, it's a first event in the framework of our new Erasmus Plus project, Trustworthy Artificial Intelligence, the European Approach. My name is Anastasia Doroshenko. I am Associated Professor in Lviv Polytechnic University, and I am coordinator of this project. So today we will talk briefly about Trustworthy AI, what is it and what requirements to trustworthy artificial intelligence we have. Also, we will talk about regulation of artificial intelligence in general and trustworthy AI in particular in the European Union, and we will try to answer the question how to develop a trustworthy artificial intelligence, especially in medical system. And at the end of our workshop, we will have Q&A sessions, so please prepare your question and we will have the chance to talk about this at the end of the workshop. Artificial intelligence has been expanding rapidly, entering in more and more sectors. As we marvel at the progress, concerns are also voiced on trustworthiness of artificial intelligence in general and its application in specific sensitive domain. The issue is bound to increase as artificial intelligence becomes more performant, autonomous, and widespread. We had a first clear signal of an artificial intelligence that exceeds our control in the game of Go, when back in 2016, AlphaGo moved 37th. Baffled, observers who noticed that such a move, a brilliant one, it turned out, would not have been made by a human. The first reaction pointed to a supremacy of artificial intelligence. However, the real issue was not that AlphaGo managed to come up with a baffling move, rather that we do not know how it cast the move. In other words, we have lost transparency in artificial intelligence systems. Machine can behave in ways that we did not program, nor that we understand. And it can be not a big problem for game, but it can be a big problem for medical sphere. It can be a big problem to other areas of life. As artificial intelligence becomes more and more powerful, we can expect to run more and more into cases where decisions or actions taken by a machine are not foreseeable, nor we can understand why such decision was taken. You can trust something you understand. Possibly, you can trust something that you got a very good record. For example, that's the case of our trust in a doctor. We may not understand her decision because we lack her knowledge, but we trust her because of her track records. In case of artificial intelligence, we would like to have at least a few human experts that can assure us that everything is fine. There is a strong demand rising for ways to have trustworthy artificial intelligence. And actually, trustworthy artificial intelligence has been identified as one of the leading and emerging areas for 2022 and the following years by the different experts, such as EEE community, computer science experts, and high-level experts group, artificial intelligence from European Commission, prepared the 2022 technology predictions. Um, Today we will talk about this problem because, as we can see on this slide, a lot of different areas connected with artificial intelligence sphere. As we know, all systems have benefits and have some risks in the functionality. And of course, we know that benefits of AI systems is for citizens, for business, for public interest. But we should estimate and predict all risks which can be possible for safety of customers and users and for their fundamental rights. Artificial intelligence systems can help to facilitate the achievements of the sustainable development goals, such as promoting gender balance and tracking climate change, rationalizing our use of national resources, enhancing our health, mobility, and production processes, and supporting how we monitor progress against sustainability and social indicators. To do this, artificial intelligence needs to be human-centered, resting on a commitment to the use in the service of humanity and the common good, with the goal of improving human welfare and freedom. While offering great opportunities, artificial intelligence systems also give rise to certain risks that must be handled appropriately and proportionate. We now have an important window of opportunity to share their development. We want to ensure that we can trust and socio-technical environments in which they are embedded. We also want producers of artificial intelligence systems to get a competitive advantage by embedding trustworthy artificial intelligence in their products and services. This entails seeking to maximize the benefits of artificial intelligence systems while at the same time preventing and minimizing their risks. In the European Union started to talk about trustworthy artificial intelligence on March 2018, and on April 2019, a high-level expert group and AI proposed some document, its ethics guidelines for trustworthy and AI. After that, this document was discussed with different experts from the sphere, from artificial intelligence sphere. And today, on September 2022, we have a proposal for an artificial intelligence liability directive. In this directive, more strict, maybe more detailed, describes all demands, all requirements to artificial intelligence system, which we're developing now. So let's talk about these ethics and guidelines for trustworthy AI and the main components and main principles of trustworthy AI. Actually, trustworthy AI has three main components. It's lawful, ethical, and robust. Let's start from the beginning. And first, principle component, it's lawful. Artificial intelligence systems do not operate in a lawless world. A number of legacy binding rules and European, national, and international level already apply or are relevant to the development, deployment, and use of artificial intelligence systems today. Legal sources include, but are not limited to EU primary law, EU secondary law, General Data Protection Regulation, the Product Liability Directive, the Regulation 3 Flow uh, of Non-Personal Data, Anti-Discrimination Directives, and others. Besides horizontally applicable rules, various domain-specific rules exist that apply to particular artificial intelligence applications, such as, for instance, for medical device regulation is the healthcare in healthcare sector. The law provides both positive and negative obligations, which means that it should not only be interpreted with references to what cannot be done, but also with reference to what should be done and what may be done. The law not only prohibits certain actions, but also enables others. In this regards, it can be noted that the European Union contains articles of the freedom to conduct a business and the freedom of arts and science, alongside articles addressing areas that we are more familiar with when looking to ensure artificial intelligence trustworthiness, such as, for instance, data protection and non-discrimination. The second component is ethical. Achieving trustworthy artificial intelligence requires not only compliance with the law, which is one of these three components, but laws are not always up to speed with technological developments, can at times be out of step with ethical norms, or may simply not be well suited to addressing certain issues. So, for artificial intelligence to be trustworthy, they should hence also be ethical, ensuring alignment with ethical norms. For this purpose, exist four ethical principles: respect for human autonomy, prevention of harm, fairness, and accessibility. So let's consider all of these principles. First, it's the principle of respect for human autonomy. The fundamental rights upon which the European Union is founded are directed towards ensuring respect for the freedom and autonomy of human beings. Humans interacting with artificial intelligence systems must be able to keep full and effective self-determination over themselves and be able to partake in the democratic process. Artificial intelligence should not unjustifiably subordinate, coerce, deceive, manipulate, condition, or hurt humans. Instead, they should be designed to augment, complement, and empower human cognitive, social, and cultural skills. The allocation of function between humans and artificial intelligence systems should follow human-centric design principles and leave meaningful opportunity to human choice. This means security human oversight over work processes in artificial intelligence systems. Artificial intelligence systems may also fundamentally change the work sphere. It should support humans in the working environment and aim for the creation of meaningful work. The second principle is prevention of harm. AI systems should neither cause nor ex- exacerbate harm or otherwise adversely affect human beings. This entails the protection of human dignity and as well as mental and physical integrity. Artificial intelligence systems, the environments in which they operate must be safe and secure. They must be technically robust and it should be ensured that they are not open to malicious use. Vulnerable persons should receive greater attention and be included in the development, deployment, and use of artificial intelligence systems. Particular attention must also be paid to situations where artificial intelligence systems can cause or exacerbate adverse impacts due to asymmetry of power, governments, and citizens. Preventing harm also entails consideration of the natural environment and all living beings. The next principle is fairness. The development, deployment, and use of artificial intelligence systems must be fair. While we acknowledge that there are many different interpretations of fairness, we believe that the fairness has both a substantive and procedural dimension. The substantive dimension implies a commitment to ensuring equal and just distribution of both benefits and costs, and ensuring that individuals and groups are free from unfair bias, discrimination, and stigmatization. If unfair biases can be avoided, artificial intelligence systems could even increase social fairness. Equal opportunity in terms of access to education, goods, services, and technology should also be fostered. Moreover, the use of artificial intelligence systems should never lead to people being deceived or unjustified and impaired in their freedom of choice. Additionally, fairness implies that artificial intelligence practitioners should respect the principle of proportionality between means and ends and consider careful how to balance competing interests and objectives. The procedural dimension of fairness entails the ability to contest and seek effectiveness redress against decisions made by artificial intelligence systems and by the humans operating them. In order to do so, the entity accountable for the decision must be identifiable and the decision-making process should be explicable. And last ethical principle is explicability. Actual explicability is crucial for building and maintaining users' trust to artificial intelligence systems. This means that processes need to be transparent. The capabilities and purpose of artificial intelligence systems openly communicated and decision to the extent possible, explainable to those directly and indirectly affected. Without such information, a decision cannot be fully contested. An explanation as to why a model has generated a particular output or decision, and what combination of input factor contributed to that. But it's not always possible. As we know, we have cases which are referred to as black box algorithm and require special attention. In those circumstances, when we have a black box case, as the explicability measure, we will have traceability, auditability, and transparent communication on system capabilities may be required, provided that the system as a whole respects fundamental rights. The degree to which explicability is needed is highly dependent on the context of the severity of the consequences if that output is erroneous or otherwise inaccurate. And last component of trustworthy AI is robust artificial intelligence. Even if an ethical purpose is ensured, individuals and society must also be confident that artificial intelligence systems will not cause any unintentional harm. Such systems should perform in a safe, secure, and reliable manner, and safeguards should be foreseen to prevent any unintended adverse impacts. It is therefore important to ensure that artificial intelligence systems are robust. This is needed both from a technical perspective, ensuring the system's technical robustness as appropriate is in a given context, such as the application domain or life cycle phase. And from a social perspective, in due consideration of the context and environment in which the system operates. So, how we will realizing trustworthy artificial intelligence? For this purpose, we have requirements of trustworthy artificial intelligence. We have to remember that we have different groups of stakeholders. And these groups have different roles to play in ensuring that the requirements are met. For example, first of this group is developers. They should implement and apply the requirements to design and development processes. Second group is deployers, should ensure that the system they used and products and services they offer meet their requirements. And end users and the broader society should be informed about these requirements and able to request that they are upheld. By developers, we refer to those who research, design, and develop artificial intelligence systems. By deployers, we refer to public or private organizations that use artificial intelligence systems within their business processes and to offer products and services to others. End users are those engaging with the artificial intelligence systems directly or indirectly. Finally, the broader society encompasses all other that are directly or indirectly affected by AI systems. Um, Between all these seven requirements exist interrelationship. All are of equal importance, support each other, and should be implemented and evaluated through the artificial intelligence systems lifecycle. So, what is seven requirements to trustworthy artificial intelligence systems? Uh, let's consider all of them. Trustworthy AI can be realized by listening seven requirements that artificial intelligence systems should meet. Both technical and non-technical methods can be used for their implementation. While all requirements are of equal importance, context and potential tensions between them will need to be taken into account when applying them across different domains and industries. Implementation of these requirements should occur throughout an artificial intelligence system's entire life cycle and depends on the specific application. While most requirements apply to all artificial intelligence systems, special attention is given to those directly or indirectly affecting individuals. Therefore, for some applications, for instance in individual settings, they may be of less relevance. The above requirements include elements that are in some cases already reflected in existing laws. We reiterate that in line with they comply with their legal obligations, both as regards horizontally applicable rules as well as domain-specific regulation. Now we will explain each requirement more detailed. The first requirement to a trustworthy AI system is human agency and oversight. AI systems should support human autonomy and decision-making, as prescribed by the principle of respect for human autonomy. This requires that AI systems should both act enabled to a democratic and equitable society by supporting the user's agency and foster fundamental rights, and allow for human oversight. Like many technologies, artificial intelligence systems can equally enable and hamper fundamental rights. They can benefit people, for instance, by helping them track their personal data or by increasing the accessibility of education and supporting their right to education. However, given the reach and capacity of artificial intelligence systems, they can also negatively affect fundamental rights. In situations where such a risk exists, a fundamental right impact assessment should be undertaken. This should be done prior to the system development and include an evaluation of whether those risks can be reduced or justified as necessary in a democratic society in order to respect the rights and freedoms of others. Moreover, mechanisms should be put into place to receive external feedback regarding AI systems that potentially infringe on fundamental rights. Users should be able to make informed, autonomous decisions regarding AI systems. They should be given the knowledge and tools to comprehend and interact with artificial intelligence systems to a satisfactory degree and, where possible, be enabled to reasonably self-assess or challenge the system. Artificial intelligence should support individuals in making better, more informed choices in accordance with their goals. AI systems can sometimes be deployed to shape and influence human behavior through mechanisms that may be difficult to detect. Science They may harness subconscious processes, including various forms of unfair manipulation, deception, herding, and conditioning, all of which may treat an individual autonomy. The overall principle of user autonomy must be central to the system's functionality. Key to this is the right not to be subject to a decision based solely on automated processing when these procedures' legal effect on the users or similarly significantly affect them. Human oversight helps ensuring that the artificial intelligence system doesn't undermine human autonomy or causes other adverse effects. Oversight may be achieved through governments, Mechanisms such as human in the loop, human on the loop, or human in command. These three cases. Oh, sorry. Human oversight helps ensuring that the AI system doesn't undermine human autonomy or causes other adverse effects. Oversight may be achieved through governance mechanisms such as human in the loop, human on the loop, or human in command approach. Human in the loop refers to the capability for human intervention in every decision cycle of the system, which in many cases is neither possible nor desirable. Human on the loop refers to the capability for human intervention during the design cycle of the system and monitoring the system's operation. Human in command refers to the capability to oversee the overall activity of the AI systems, including its broader economic, social, legal, and ethical input, and the ability to decide when and how to use a system in any particular situation. This can include the decision not to use an AI system in particular situation, to establish levels of human discretization during the use of the system, or to ensure the ability to override a decision made a system. Moreover, it must be ensured that public enforcers have the ability to exercise oversight in line with their mandate. Oversight mechanisms can be required in varying degrees to support other safety and control measures, depending on AI system's application area and potential risk. All other things being equal, the less oversight a human can exercise over an AI system, the more extensive testing and stricter governance is required. Uh, A crucial component of achieving trustworthy artificial intelligence is technical robustness, which is closely linked to the principle of prevention of harm. Technical robustness requires that artificial intelligence systems be developed with a preventative approach to risk and in a manner such that their reliability have and intended with minimizing unintentional and unexpected harm and preventing unacceptable harm. This should also apply to potential changes in the operating environment or the presence of other agents, human or artificial, that may interact with the system in an adversarial manner. In addition, the physical and mental integrity of humans should be ensured. AI systems, like all software systems, should be protected against vulnerabilities that can allow them to be exploited by adversaries such as hacking. Attacks may target the data poisoning, the model leakage, or underlying infrastructure, both software and hardware. If an AI system is attacked, for example, adversarial attack, the data as well as system behavior can be changed, leading the system to make different decisions or causing it to shut down altogether. System and data can also become corrupted by malicious intention or by exposure to unexpected situation. Insufficient security process can also result in erroneous decision or even physical harm. For artificial intelligence system to be considered secure, possible unintended application of the AI systems for example, dual-use application, and potential abuse of the system by malicious actors should be taken into account, and steps should be taken to prevent and mitigate this. AI systems should have safeguards that enable a fallback plan in case of problems. This can mean that AI systems switch from a statistical to rule-based procedure, or that they ask for human operator before continuing the action. It must be ensured that the system will do what it is supposed to do without harming living beings or the environment. This includes the minimization of unintended consequences and errors. In addition, processes to clarify and assess potential risks associated with the use of AI systems across various application areas should be established. The level of safety measures required depends on the magnitude of the risk posed by the AI system, which in turn depends on the system's capabilities. Where it can be foreseen that the deployment process or the system itself will pose particularly high risks, it is crucial for safety measures to be developed and tested proactively. Accuracy pertains to an artificial intelligence system's ability to make correct judgment, for example, to correctly classify information into the proper categories, or its ability to make correct prediction, recommendation, or decision based on data or models. An explicit and well-formed development and evaluation process can support, mitigate, and correct unintended risks from inaccurate prediction. When occasional inaccurate prediction cannot be avoided, it is important that the system can indicate how likely these errors are. A high level of accuracy is especially crucial in situations where the AI systems directly affect human lives, such in medical sphere, healthcare, etc. Reliability and reproducibility. It is also critical that the results of artificial intelligence systems are reproducible as well as reliable. A reliable AI system is one that works properly with a range of inputs and a range of situations. This is needed to uh, scrutinize in AI systems and to prevent unintended harms. Reproducibility describes whether AI experiment exhibits the same behavior when repeated under the same conditions. This enables scientists and policymakers to accurately describe what AI systems do. Replication files can facilitate the process of testing and reproduction behaviors. The next requirement is privacy and data governance. Closely linked to the principle of prevention of harm is privacy, a fundamental right particularly affected by AI systems. Prevention of harm to privacy also necessitates adequate data governance that covers the quality and integrity of the data used. Its relevance in light of the domain in which the AI systems will be deployed, its access protocols, and the capability to process data in a manner that protects privacy. AI systems must guarantee privacy and data protection throughout the system's entire life cycle. This includes information initially provided by the user, as well as information generated about the user over the course of their interaction with the system, like outputs of the AI system generated for specific users, or how users responded to particular recommendations. Digital record of human behavior may allow AI systems to infer not only individuals' preference, but also their sexual orientation, age, gender, religious, or political views. To allow individuals to trust the data gathering process, it must be ensured The data collected about them will not be used to unlawfully or unfairly discriminate against them. The quality of the data set used is paramount to the performance of AI systems. When data is gathered, it may contain socially constructed biases, inaccuracies, errors, and mistakes. This needs to be addressed prior to the training with any given data set. In addition, the integrity of the data must be ensured. Feeding malicious data into the AI system may change its behavior, particularly with self-learning systems. Processes and data set used must be tested and documented at each step, such as planning, training, testing, and deployment. This should also apply to AI systems that were not developed in-house but acquired elsewhere. In any given organization that handles individuals' data, private data, whether someone is a user or the systems or not, data protocols governing data access should be put in place. These protocols should outline who can access data and under which circumstances. Only duly qualified personnel with the competence and need to access individuals' data should be allowed to do so. This requirement is closely linked with the principle of explainability and encompasses transparency of elements relevant to AI systems, the data, the system, and the business models. The data sets and the processes that the artificial system decisions, including those of data gathering and data labeling, as well as the algorithm used, should be documented to the best possible standards to allow for traceability and an increase in transparency. This also applies to the decision made by the AI system. This enables identification of the reason why AI decision was erroneous, which in turn could help prevent future mistakes. Traceability facilitates auditability as well as explainability. Explainability concerns the ability to explain both the technical process of the AI system and the related human decision. For example, application areas of a system. Technical explainability requires that the decision made by AI system can be understood and traced by human beings. Moreover, trade-offs might have to be made between enhancing a system explainability, which may reduce its accuracy, or increasing its accuracy at the cost of explainability. Whether an AI system has a significant impact on people's lives, it should be possible to demand a suitable explanation of the AI system's decision-making process. Such explanations should be timely and adapted to the expertise of the stakeholder concerned, a layperson, regulator, or researcher. In addition, explanation of the degree to which an AI system influences and shapes the organization decision-making process, design choices of the system, and the rationale for deploying it should be available. AI systems should not represent themselves as human to user. Humans have the right to be informed that they are interacting with an AI system. This entails that AI systems must be identifiable as such. In addition, the option to decide against this interaction in favor of human interaction should be provided where needed to ensure compliance with the fundamental rights. Beyond this, the AI system's capabilities and limitations should be communicated to AI practitioners and end users in a manner appropriate to the use case at hand. This could encompass communication of the AI system's level of accuracy as well as its limitations. diversity, non-discrimination, and fairness. In order to achieve trustworthy AI, we must enable inclusion and diversity throughout the entire AI system's lifecycle. Besides the consideration and involvement of all affected stakeholders throughout the process, this also entails ensuring equal access through inclusive design processes as well as equal treatment. This requirement is closely linked to the principle of fairness, avoidance of unfair bias. Datasets used by AI systems, both for training and for operation, may suffer from inclusion of inadvertent historical bias, incompleteness, and bad governance models. The continuation of such biases could lead to unintended indirect prejudice and discrimination against a certain group of people, potentially exacerbating prejudice and marginalization. Harm can also result from the intentional explosion, exploitation of biases or by engaging in unfair competitions, such as the homogenization of prices by means of collusion or non-transparent market. In line with principles of fairness and prevention of harm, the broader society, other scientific being in the environment, should be also considered as stakeholders throughout the AI system's life cycle. Sustainability and ecological responsibility of AI systems should be encouraged, and research should be fostered into AI solutions addressing areas of global concern, such as, for instance, the Sustainable Development Goals. Ideally, AI systems should be used to benefit all human beings, including future generations. AI systems promise to help taking some of the most pressing social concerns. Yet it must be ensured that this occurs in the most environmentally friendly way possible. The system development, deployment, and use process, as well as its entire supply chain, should be assessed in this regard, where critical examination of the resource usage and energy consumption during training, opting for less harmful choice. Measures securing the environmental friendliness of our system's entire supply chains should be encouraged. Accountability. The requirement of accountability complements the above requirements, and it's closely linked to the principle of fairness. It necessitates that mechanisms be put in place to ensure responsibility and accountability for AI systems and their outcomes, both before and after development, deployment, and use. Auditability entails the enablement of the assessment of algorithms, data, and design processes. This does not necessarily imply that information about business models and intellectual property related to the AI systems must always be openly available. No, but evaluation by internal and external auditors and the availability of such evaluation reports can contribute to the trustworthiness of the technology. In application affecting fundamental rights, including safety-critical applications, AI systems should be able to be independently audited. So, how realizing trustworthy AI throughout the system's entire life cycle? To implement the above requirements, both technical and non-technical methods can be employed. This encompasses all stages of AI systems lifecycle, An evaluation of the method employed to implement the requirements, as well as reporting and justifying changes to the implementation processes, should occur on an ongoing basis. AI systems are continuously evolving and acting in a dynamic environment. The realization of trustworthy is therefore a continuous process as deployed on this figure. As we can see, we have rights, principles, and values. Also, we should be requirements for trustworthy AI. It can be technical or non-technical methods to implement the requirements, and during all life cycle of our AI application, is deployment of this application, development, we should think about all these requirements. So what we talk about when we talk about technical methods to ensure trustworthy. First of all, is architectures for trustworthy AI. Its ethics and rules of law by design, explanation methods, testing and validating, and quality of service indicators. Let's discuss it a little bit detail. Architecture for trustworthy AI. Requirements for trustworthy AI should be translated into procedures or constraints or procedures which should be anchored in the AI system's architecture. This could be accomplished through a set of whitelist rules, behaviors, or states that the system should always follow. Blacklist restriction on behaviors of states that the system should never transgress, and mixture of those or more complex provable guarantees regarding the system's behavior. Monitoring of the system's compliance with these restrictions during operation may be achieved by separate processes. AI systems with learning capabilities that can dynamically adapt their behavior can be understood as non-deterministic systems, possibly exhibiting unexpected behavior. These are often considered through the theoretical lens of a sense-plan-act cycle. Adapting this architecture to ensure trustworthy AI requires the requirements integration at all three steps of this cycle. At the sense step, the system should be developed such as recognized all environmental elements necessary to ensure adherence to the requirements. At the plan step, the system should only consider plans that adhere to the requirements. At the act step, the system's action should be restricted to behaviors that realize the requirements. The architecture, as sketched above, is generic and only provides an imperfect description for most AI systems. Nevertheless, it gives anchor points to constraints and policies that should be reflected in specific models to result in overall systems that is trustworthy and perceived as such. Ethics and rule by design. We know about privacy by design from GDPR regulation, for example. So methods to ensure values by design provide precise and explicit links between the abstract principles which the system is required to respect and the specific implementation decision. The idea that compliance with norms can be implemented into the design of the AI system is key to this method. Companies are responsible for identifying the impact of their AI systems from the very start, as well as the norms their AI systems ought to comply with the avert negative impacts. Different by design concepts are already widely used. It's privacy by design and security by design. To earn trust, AI need to be secure in its processes, data, and outcomes, and should be designed to the robust and adversarial data and ethics. It should implement a mechanism for fail-safe shutdown and enable resumed operation after a forced shutdown. Explanation methods. For a system to be trustworthy, we must be able to understand why it behaved a certain way in certain way and why it provided a given interpretation. A whole field of research, explainable AI, tries to address this issue to better understand the system's underlying mechanism and find solutions. Today, this is still an open challenge for AI systems based on neural networks. Training processes with neural nets can result in network parameters set to numerical values that are difficult to correlate with results. Moreover, sometimes small changes in data values might result in dramatic changes in interpretation, leading the system to confuse a school bus with an ostrich. This vulnerability can also be exploited during attacks on the system. Methods involving XA, explainable AI, research are vital not only for explain the system's behavior to users, but also to deploy reliable technology. Testing and validating. Due to the non-deterministic and consent-specific nature of AI systems, traditional testing is not enough. Failure of the concept of representation used by the system may only manifest when a program is applied to sufficient realistic data. Consequently, to verify and validate processing of data, the underlying model must be carefully monitored during both training and development for its stability, robustness, and operation within well understood and predictable bounds. It must be ensured that the outcome of the planning process is consistent with the input and that the decisions are made in a way allowing validation of the underlying process. Testing and validation of the system should occur as early as possible, ensuring that the system behaves as intended throughout its entire life cycle and especially after deployment. It should include all components of an AI system, including data, pre-trained models, environment, and the behavior of the system as whole. The testing processes should be designed and performed by an as diverse group of people as possible. Multiple metrics should be developed to cover the categories that are being tested for different perspectives. Adversarial testing by trusted and diverse red teams deliberately attempting to break the system to find vulnerabilities and bug boundaries that incisive outsiders to detect the responsibility report errors and weaknesses can be considered. Finally, it must be ensured that the output or action are consistent with the result of the preceding processes, comparing them to the previous defined policies to ensure that they are not violated. Quality of service indicators. Appropriate quality of service indicators can be defined for AI systems to ensure that there is a baseline understanding as to whether they have been tested and developed with security and safety consideration in mind. These indicators could include measures to evaluate the testing and training of algorithms, as well as traditional software metrics of functionality, performance, usability, reliability, security, and maintainability. If we will talk about non-technical methods to ensure trustworthy AI, we can say about this. Regulation. As mentioned above, regulation to support AI trustworthiness already exists today. Think of product safety legislation and liability framework. To the extent we consider that regulation may need to be revised, adapted, or introduced both as a safeguard and as an enabler. This is be raised in our second deliverable consisting of AI policy and investment recommendation. The second one is codes of conduct. Organizations and stakeholders can sign up to the guidelines and adapt their chapter of corporate responsibility, key performance indicators, KPIs, their codes of conduct, or internal policy document to add the striving towards trustworthy AI. An organization working on or with AI systems can more generally document its intention as well as underwrite them with standards of certain desirable values such as fundamental rights, transparency, and avoidance of harm. Next one is standardization. Standards, for example, for design, manufacturing, and business practices can function as a quality management system for AI users, consumers, organizations, research institutions, and governments by offering the ability to recognize and encourage ethical conduct through their purchasing decisions. Beyond conventional standards, co-regulatory approaches exist. Accreditation systems, professional codes of ethics and standards for fundamental rights compliant design. Current examples such as ISO standards or IEEE 7000 standard series, but in the future a possible trustworthy AI label might be suitable, confirmed by reference to specific technical standards that the system, for instance, adherence to safety, technical robustness, and transparency. Certification. It is, as it cannot be expected that everyone is able to fully understand the working and effects of AI systems, consideration can be given to organizations that can attest to the broader public that an AI system is transparent, accountable, and fair. These certifications would apply standard developed for different application domains and AI techniques, appropriately aligned with the industrial and social standards of different contexts. Certification can, however, never replace responsibility. It should hence to be complemented by accountability frameworks, including disclaimers, as well as review and redress mechanisms. Accountability via governance framework. Organizations should set up governance framework, both internal and external, ensuring accountability for the ethical dimension of decisions associated with the development, deployment, and use of AI systems. This can, for instance, include the appointment of a person in charge of ethics issues relating to AI systems, or an internal external ethics panel or board. Among the possible roles of such a person, panel or board, is to provide oversight and advice. As set out above, certification specification and bodies can also play a role to this end. Communication channels should be ensured with industry and all public oversight groups, sharing best practices, discussing dilemmas, or reporting emerging issues of ethical concerns. Such mechanism can complement but cannot replace legal oversight. Education and awareness to foster an ethical mindset. Trustworthy AI encourages the informed participation of all stakeholders. Communication, education, and training play an important role both to ensure that knowledge of the potential impact of AI system is widespread and to make people aware that they can participate in shaping the social development. This includes all stakeholders, those involved in making the products, the users, other impacted groups, those who may not purchase or use an AI system, but for whom decisions are made by an AI system and society at large. Basic AI literacy should be fostered across society. A prerequisite for educating the public is to ensure the proper skills and training of ethics in this space. Stakeholder participation and social dialogue. The benefits of AI systems are many, and Europe needs to ensure that they are available to all. This requires an open discussion and the involvement of social partners and stakeholders, including the general public. Many organizations already rely on stakeholders panels to discuss the use of AI systems and data analytics. These panels include various members, such as legal experts, technical experts, ethics, consumer representatives, and workers. Actively seeking participation and dialogue on the use of impact and AI systems support the evaluation of results and approaches and can particularly be helpful in complex cases. And the last is diversity and inclusive design teams. Diversity and inclusion play an essential role when developing AI systems that will be employed in the real world. It is critical that as AI systems perform more tasks on their own, the teams that design, develop, test, and maintain deploy to procure these systems reflect the diversity of users of society in general. This contributes to objectively and consideration of different perspectives, need to and objectives. Ideally, teams are not only diverse in team and gender, culture, age, but also in terms of professional background and skill set. So approach, which is proposed by European Commission now, it's a risk-based approach to regulation. As you can see on this pyramid, we have a few four levels of AI application. It's a green level with minimal or no risk, middle level, yellow, it's AI with specific transparency obligation, orange, it's artificial intelligence system with high risk, and some systems of which using artificial intelligence with unacceptable risk. This part of this application is prohibited in European Union. It's a AI application or AI systems which may realize social scoring or, for example, working with biometrical data in real time. It's prohibited in European Union now because you can't receive from user his agree. But all other type of system is permitted, but if our minimal or no risk systems are permitted with no restriction, other should be permitted with some restrictions or additional obligations. For example, AI with specific transparency obligations permitted but subject to information transparency obligation. For example, if it's some chatbot, you should say to your user that he talking not with a human but with a chatbot. High risk application. It's application which using some working with some medical devices, or for example, system recruitment systems, or other systems with a high influence to people. Uh, in this case, they are permitted, but subject to compliance with AI requirement and ex ante conformity assessment. Um, Also, we can say that our application with minimal or no risk, possible voluntary codes of conduct for AI with specific transparency requirement, but they have no mandatory obligations. In the middle risk systems, we have obligations such as notify humans that they're interacting with AI system unless this is evident. Notify humans that emotional recognition or biometric categorization systems are applied to them. Or, for example, if we use some deepfakes technologies, we should apply label to deepfakes to uh, because it's necessary for exercise of a fundamental right of freedom of in public interest. But what we have to do if we have high risk system? It also can be two systems in two following fields: safety components or regulated products. For example, if we're using medical devices, machinery, which is subject to third-party assessment under the relevant sectoral legislation. Or second type, it's certain standalone AI systems in the following fields, like biometric identification and categorization of natural person, management and operation of critical infrastructure, education and vocational training, employment and workers management, access to self-employment, access and then enjoyment of essential private services and public services and benefits, law enforcement, migration, asylum and border control management, administration of justice, and democratic processes. In this case, we should do some steps to this AI system must pass the certification procedure as any other products in European Union. And at the end of this procedure, our system will have some marking that this is trustworthy artificial intelligence systems. We can trust it, and it's okay with all requirements to trustworthy artificial intelligence. So, what steps we should follow? First step is determine whether its AI system is classified as high risk under the new AI regulation. If yes, so you should go into step 2, ensure design and development and quality management system are in compliance with the AI regulation. If you are compliant and if you okay with this regulation, so we go on the step 3, conformity assessment procedure aimed at assessing and documenting compliance. After that, affix the CMR marketing to the system and sign a declaration of conformity. After that, you will receive this mark about your trustworthy, and this product can be going to the market. So what requirements we have for high-risk AI? It's the same requirements which we talked about it early. Use high quality training, validation, and testing data. They should be relevant and representative. Also establish documentation and design logging features because of traceability and auditability, as we said earlier. Ensure appropriate certain degree of transparency and provide users with information. Ensure human oversight. Measures built into the system or to be implemented by user, and ensure robustness, accuracy, and cybersecurity of the system. If with these requirements everything fine, so your high-risk artificial intelligence system can be on the European market, and it's okay. So if we talk about um, four key policy objectives for artificial intelligence in Europe, we can um, describe it like set enabling conditions for AI development and uptake in the EU, make the EU the right place, excellence from lab to the market, ensure AI technologies work for people, and build strategic leadership in the sector. Um, and exactly, Trustworthy is one of this priority uh, objectives for artificial intelligence in Europe for next years. And actually, high-level expert group of artificial intelligence proposed Trustworthy AI assessment list to check your system. Are you compliant with these requirements for Trustworthy AI? We can just look for this list, what section we have here, and this is assessing for different levels of our organization, of our product. Management on board, compliance, legal department, quality assurance, HR, product and service development, equipment, and other. And all of these levels have their relevant roles depending on organization, what they are responsible for. But if we talk about this assessment, we have even developed assessment list with questions. If you are a developer and you create your own artificial intelligence system, I think it's a good idea to answer for this question, and you will know do you have any problems with your product, or it complete for Trustworthy AI. It is really easy to understand this assessment list because we have the same seven requirements to trustworthy artificial intelligence, and for every of these requirements we have questions, and in this way you answer for this question you can check your system. I want to read all of these questions. I think it's really easy to find this assessment list, and I'm absolutely sure that it will be really useful for you as for researchers in the artificial intelligence area, because I'm sure that really soon it will be assessment list as part of some regulation to artificial intelligence, which will be absolutely like GDPR um, for all artificial intelligence application needed. As we remember, second requirement was technical robustness and safety, and we have the questions about possibilities of attacks for your system and how you consider different types of vulnerables in your system, for example, like data pollution, physical infrastructure, cyber attacks, and other. Also, the questions from privacy and data governance. This is question about training and operation data. Also, as you can see, we have the elements from GDPR, so we understand that for artificial intelligence system, which has training, for example, set for the for training, we also should guarantee that this data was obtained with respect for privacy and with data protection. Transparency. You have to answer what method you used for designing and developing your algorithmic system. Is it a rule-based system, learning-based AI system, and what methods and scenarios or use cases you used during the test, the validate, and other. Also the same question for diversity, non-discrimination, and fairness, social and environmental well-being, and for accountability. So I think it's really useful to check your system, for example, for all these points. If we will talk about artificial intelligence in healthcare, as we know, it's really popular to use artificial intelligence in medicine, and thanks to this conference yesterday and today, we heard a lot of interesting presentation about your novelty research, but also we have realized projects AI in disease detection and diagnosis, personalized disease treatment, AI in medical imaging, clinical trial efficiency, accelerated drug development, and other a lot of different application of artificial intelligence. We know, but artificial intelligence in healthcare has some tricks, and we can say a few words about it. One of the biggest risks that AI in healthcare holds is that the AI system might at times be wrong. For instance, if it suggested the wrong drug to a patient or makes an error in locating a tumor in a radiology scan, which could result in the patient's injury or dire health-related consequences. AI errors are potentially different from at least two reasons. While errors can obviously take place by human medical professionals as well, yet what makes this crucial is that an underlying error, an error in an eye system, could lead to injuries for thousands of patients. The next one problem is data availability. Yet another treat posed by AI systems is that training the system require massive amounts of data from multiple sources, which include pharmacy records, electronic health records, insurance claims records, etc. Since the data is fragmented and patients often see different providers of switch insurance companies, the data get complicated and less comprehensive, as a result of which the risk of error and the cost of data collection escalates. Uh, Also, we have a problems because we can have bias inadequately in our results. Also, we have a problem with privacy concerns because, as I told earlier, uh, we should be absolutely sure that we have the data by law. We have all data privacy concerns from patients, etc. And also that could lead to shift in the profession because maybe some artificial intelligence systems can shift some medical professionals from his positions. But despite these challenges, we all understand that the use of artificial intelligence in medical field, in the field of healthcare, is extremely promising and urgent task. It remains only to wish that all of us in the, who develop some systems in the field of artificial intelligence, that our system will trustworthy and ethical, and let's do this. I thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them. Thank you very much.